morning coffee. Welcome everybody for your viewers and listeners out there. As usual, morning coffee every Friday. We have Gary from Frisch Communications, always here to do reputation rap. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Good to have you, man. So what do we got going on in reputation rap this morning?
Well, what caught my attention last week was this odd case of a proposed ship for the British science agency of the British government, and they had decided that they were going to open up the naming of this ship, which was going to be an Arctic exploration vehicle, to the public online. And it just kind of shows what can happen when you do that. You do it at your own risk. They had proposed certain names like the RRS Shackleton after Ernest Shackleton, the Antarctic explorer, or the RRS Endeavour, or some other prestigious names that spoke to past explorers or past science vessels. They wound up with the leading name being Boaty McBoatface.
I saw that. It was a pretty interesting name.
It was proposed by a former PR person, ironically, and a BBC radio guy over there, kind of as a joke. And like sometimes happens, it took on a life of its own and became the leading name. People, flocked to it. And so now the science agency is left with the dilemma: do we go with popular opinion and name our ship Boaty McBoatface, or do we give it a little bit more dignity than that?
I'll tell you what. After you told us what we were going to be talking about today, I looked it up a little, and I think they said it was like $287 million to build.
Yes.
So if they can brand that and get some exposure and raise some money, and maybe they cover the cost of that.
And it may not just be about raising money. It could be more about raising interest in science, in Britain and worldwide, perhaps.
Right.
From my standpoint, through the lens of public relations, you don't want to look a gift horse in the boat face. You want to embrace what the public has come back with, unless it's something offensive,
right,
or unless it's going to create more PR issues than it resolves. It makes you appear responsive. It makes you appear more human as a company or an organization. And it gives a certain level of buy-in to your target audiences, the people who came up with the name. I mean, for heaven's sake, what school kid or teacher in Britain could resist Boaty McBoatface? And if you take a look at the ship, the proposed, the artist's conception of the ship has these bright colors, and it would be so easy to paint eyes and a gaping smile on the bow of the ship. And then go to town with toys and McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
Right.
Do coloring books for kids and learning aids for schools. It's a boon really to the agency.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In what I was reading, I mean, the ship is huge and it has all these different stations on it, and I like that it's going. What they're trying to do is look at global warming, other things, the polar ice. Stuff like that, and it seems like that a lot of that stuff is kind of hokey pokey, not hokey pokey, but when the researchers go up there, it's like really small teams. It's this seems like it will really capture a lot of data to give back to us.
Well, its mission is certainly esoteric.
Yeah.
And requires a certain type of crew, with certain expertise. But that's even more reason that if you can open this the whole program up to more consumer interest, that's a great thing. I believe it has a helipad.
Yep.
On the ship.
I'm
thinking now, just off the top of my head.
It has 20 labs.
If they have a fleet of 3 helicopters that serve that ship, name them Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Right. Exactly. I mean, look, honestly, we have with social media and stuff that we can do technology-wise, we have even named one of the great white sharks that floats in our area or swims in our area. And you can go to that website. And you can you click onto the tracker thing, and you can see where the shark is and where it has been.
And that's another great way to involve people in science.
Absolutely.
And what your mission is, which can help translate into increased fundraising.
Right.
Certainly from not just from the public, but from donors from, companies and organizations, because they want to be attached to something that has that, name value or recognition. So I don't see anything bad coming from this. However, you have to be careful when you open up your, marketing processes or other processes normally left to professionals to the public at large. Sometimes you need to have an advisory on there that, the organization maintains, final choice in the matter, which I believe the science agency does have final choice. And that, the suggestions, the contest is for advisory purposes only. You can have things like Mountain Dew was launching a new drink several years ago, and they opened it up, the naming to the public, and the #1 choice was maybe Hitler wasn't all wrong. That's obviously posted as a joke or
Right.
maybe serious by somebody from the Aryan Nation, but obviously you can't go with something like that. The National Hockey League typically opens up their All-Star voting to the fans. This year they had a tournament-style All-Star weekend with $1 million to the winning team. They opened it up to the fans, and the #1 vote getter was this guy named John Scott with the Phoenix Coyotes, who is an enforcer. He scored 4 goals in his entire NHL career, not an All-Star in anybody's estimation, and the NHL tried to completely squelch this and tried to dissuade Scott from appearing in the game, first telling him this isn't the game for you, and then kind of, whispering to him, would your kids be proud of this if you did this? And that kind of set him off. He was willing to roll with a joke. Then when the NHL said that, he got a little bit annoyed, and he said in a blog that, he is certainly qualified to know what his kids would or wouldn't be proud of, and he became determined to play in the game. And so the NHL, they did some backroom maneuvering to keep him out. He was traded mid-season by his team to the Montreal Canadiens, who sent him down to their minor league team, thereby making him ineligible to play. Well, the NHL faced an uproar over that and eventually relented. And he was the story of the All-Star game. He scored 2 goals and was the MVP of the tournament. He got his share of the $1 million and the MVP, SUV.
Right.
So it was a Hollywood story, but the NHL came out looking bad because they tried to turn a blind eye to the fans' vote.
The fans vote, and the fans vote is really what's out there. What's interesting, about this, about the Boaty McBoatface,
I smile every time I
I
hear
know,
that.
I makes me laugh.
Everybody
But you know
does.
what, though, as a kid, when we were growing up, Jacques Cousteau was like the man, you know what I mean? And when his TV show came on, it wasn't a weekly show, but when it came on, I know a lot of kids my age, or guys my age, were glued to the TV. And so, like, the next big, I'll say the big thing out there for, like, science, you got the Discovery Channel. Now it's this big thing, and it's just kind of they throw a lot of stuff out there. Well, the last thing that I remember that was really big in that type of industry, or in that industry, was that ship that flipped. And it would stand like this, and half of it would be like, the one part would submerge under the water, and it would be standing straight up.
Not the Costa Concordia.
I don't know the name. I
That
don't
was
know
a
the
cruise
name.
ship that listed
Not
and
the
was on
not
side.
the, not the cruise ship.
Oh, okay.
This ship was a scientific ship
Oh.
that did discovery of all types of underwater stuff, but it would actually flip in the water. It would go and it would be.
Oh, you
standing
mean
straight.
the vertical? It
The vertical,
means
right.
to do that.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So
yeah.
like that was the last time that anything like big. So like this coming up, the Boaty McBoatface, I like it because it's a fun name, but also it gives it a little different spin on that type of in that industry.
Well, I don't think if you ask, well, I would guarantee if you ask young people today who Robert Ballard is, despite the fact that he's today's Jacques Cousteau,
Right.
I don't think anybody under the age of 40 even would know who he is.
Would know
He's
who
the
he
guy
is.
who discovered the location of the Titanic.
Right.
And made many other discoveries since. So yeah, I think you can attach a personality to the ship. I think the ship's captain can make appearances in schools,
Yeah, absolutely.
and give
That
out,
would be
give
really
out,
cool.
comic books about Boaty McBoatface.
Very, very cool. Listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back here with Reputation Rap with Gary from Swordfish Communications.